Hey guys, it's Jay again. This is going to be a story. This one's going to be about basically a what if. If you're not familiar with that, just Google what if and type in any anime you want on YouTube or character you want. I used to do it on YouTube for a while. I still do it occasionally, but I'm going to try to bring it over to TikTok just to see how it goes. Excuse me. Before we begin, check out my Spider-Man stories. It's my own comic I've written. I've just taken the name from other place, and that's about it. But let's begin. Denji's backstory is pretty much the exact same up until he's about 13. I still don't know how old he was when his dad died, I believe, but I'm going to say he's around 10 or 11. But when this happens, Denji was seeking shelter from the rain one day, as Pochita was still at his, shack. Denji was in the gas station looking for food because he couldn't bring Pochita in public. Denji was just trying to get out of the rain and get some food. He was to the gas station. He eventually had found some fruit for sale that was bruised, some food that was expired. He thought he could get a good deal on it. But as he's walking up to the register, he sees a magazine. It's very, colorful. And it's not a manga. It was just kind of weird to me out that a colorful magazine isn't manga. So eventually, he ends up looking at it, and he can't read it. It's in English. But he does note the girl on the cover, kind of hot and muscular. So he takes it and immediately begins trying to just, figure it out and read it. But he just can't read it. It's hard. He looked around and eventually would grab one of the guys in line. And it says, "You speak English?" It was a teenager. The teenager said, "I speak a little bit of it." And the teenager blinked slowly, like he hasn't slept in days. Denji throws the newspaper in his face and says, "Can you read this?" And the teen would just sigh, as if talking to Denji took a physical toll on him. And the guy just says, "Yeah, give me a minute. I learned it in high school. It's been a while." And he says, "Ripped in 60 days. Yeah, ripped in 60 days. That's what it says. Denji says, "Ripped?" And the man says, ripped means muscular, Denji. One doesn't say call him, he called him kid and just ripped as in muscular. He says, "Ah, cool. No one chooses on the cover of it." The clerk just says, "Go ahead and take it. It was an excellent order. The corporate wanted American stuff for tourists, but tourists don't come to this shithole for fitness advice." And you're going to be told twice and ran out without bothering to pay for the food, taking it as you can have everything for free, not just the magazine. The clerk was too tired to just tell him only the magazine. When he ran out, he yelled at the teen and said, "Thanks, tired guy." The teen just says, "Name's Aki, you brat," before turning back in line and buying some cigarettes. Denji was very obsessed with this magazine because, one, pretty girl. Two, it was very interesting to him because, people look really healthy and look like they enjoyed working out. So what if he could enjoy it? What if he could get stronger? So yeah. Sorry about that. But eventually, Denji would keep trying to read it. He didn't even learn English to try to get better at reading it. And he learned it kind of from mimicking words, as he would look at a picture and then spell out the word, which took a while, because he didn't know how to read it either. But eventually figured out squat. And he'd see the picture and mimic it. Or then he would see protein, and he'd look at a picture in an article that tell him what to eat for protein. So eventually then he started being able to associate pictures with images, and that kind of led to him learning English. Now, he tried to follow the workouts, but his malnourished body refused to follow muscle. He didn't really get ripped, but he did get surprisingly healthy in terms of his cardiovascular system. Being he had a lot greater stamina and endurance, he could move faster and quicker. So he was doing a lot better in that department. But Denji would eventually start getting better in terms of just overall health. He realized he could actually kill more devils in one day, getting him to actually earn more money and a lot faster. With that, he actually was able to save a lot more money for himself, allowing him to actually start getting better and better food. He was still broke, but it was more food in general. And Denji eventually started having a few ideas after just figuring out what he should eat and where to look for food. He would find the old people who were vendors, and they took pity on a fairly malnourished child who actually would barter for, bruised fruits. Few even actually gave him whole good fruits that were like perfectly ripe, and then they'd throw in like a bruised apple for half the cost. Then Denji, due to the fact that he basically lived in the middle of nowhere, or at least near the middle of nowhere, he would run out in the middle of the night, steal a chicken, use Pochita to kill it, and then he would consume the meat while Pochita just kind of drank all the blood out of it. It's a pretty good system for them both, because Pochita drank blood. Denji actually started to realize that he didn't really need to feed Pochita. Pochita needed blood. Pochita got blood. But then he started realizing that the kind of cycle he needed, he didn't really need to give Pochita food, he needed to give him blood. That's about it. Now, eventually Denji started getting more and more, noticeably strong. By the time he was almost 14, he got a little bit bigger, he actually had muscle in his body, everything. And eventually his handler started noticing the fact that Denji was getting better and doing more. He showed that he was even better physically than a lot of his own men in the Yakuza. And him is spying on Denji's shadows. And one of his subordinates had noticed. And he says, "What are you thinking, boss? You look at him really closely." And they would just say, "The kid's a damn mystery, man. My own guards, grown men with real guns, knives. They can't do half as much as a 13-year-old runt who can't even afford steak. How the hell is that possible?" Subordinate just shrugged. Seeing the boss was really mad and didn't really want to say anything that could set him off even more, and just says, "Oh no, it shouldn't be possible." The handler just sighed and says, "He's building himself up. He's doing something. Sticks and mud. It's even food, proper knowledge, or even a foundation." He started smiling and says, "If I give him that foundation, if I can help him do whatever bullshit he's trying to figure out, his debt would bind him to the organization, but his strength, that binds him to me." He took a cigarette to the ground and says, "I'll teach this dog new tricks. Then he'll be in my debt. I'll have that dog as mine." And eventually the guard, or the handler, started kind of just swapping out Denji's food. The handler started being able to stiff Denji out on payments, but Denji didn't notice he was being stiffed. The handler started just swapping out, instead of giving him, 25% of, he basically cut him at 25%, and the 25% is replaced with food. In reality, when the money Denji was making, he could have bought his own food and a lot more of it without having to have his pay cut by 25%. But Denji didn't notice that because he's not good with money. He just knows he needs to pay a debt. But Denji didn't mind the arrangement because he got decent food. Imagine Denji's fully 14, well into his, by the time he's, well into, the age he'd be a high schooler at. You can see that he's definitely a bit bigger. And he even got a bit taller, to the point where he's probably the size he is at the beginning of the actual Chainsaw Man. When you see him, when he meets Makima, Denji's kind of built like that. In fact, he's probably stronger than that version of Chainsaw Man. Not Denji, that Chainsaw Man. So Denji's already that strong by 14, because his body works that hard. And eventually, Denji is actually even doing actual Yakuza work, collecting debt, enforcing territory, making examples of people who crossed his family. And he gained a reputation. So with that, that's where I'm going to end this part here, because I think this should be part 2 to actually go into how strong Denji will truly be as a proper Yakuza next. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like and subscribe for more. Adios.